The European Union is scrambling to ramp up defense spending so it can start its own wars, or defend itself, with a new package totaling roughly $840 billion. This is all part of a wider plan that could ultimately confiscate 10 trillion euros, it's about $11 trillion, in bank savings from regular Europeans to dump into Europe's welfare warfare machine. Now, today's 840 is coming because Donald Trump has told Europe it has to pay for its own defense. Of course, the EU is slippery, and this is just budget authority, not dollars and holes, but if it happens, it would take EU's defense spending to close to 3% of GDP, as double today's 1.5 and very close to U.S. spending of about 3.5 to 4%. The United Kingdom, no longer in the EU since Brexit, is also raising defense spending to 2.5% of GDP, together and close to $900 billion. Yes, it is amazing how much spare change Europeans find in the couch when Yankees go home. The newfound seriousness is all Trump. In his first term, he had been demanding that Europeans spend between 2 and 4% of GDP, since after all, they're the ones with the security problems, and yet we defend them for free while they blow trillions on welfare states for third worlders and starting new wars on our dime. Indeed, Europeans spend between 7 and 10% of GDP more on welfare than the U.S., a big chunk funded by skimping on military. To give a sense how these welfare queens spend their days, a recent video made the rounds of the German military training with broomsticks because they don't have guns. In 2023, Britain announced they have just over 100 operational tanks. It's for the most impressive military in Europe. The Netherlands auctioned off their tanks 20 years ago. Spain's fighter jets date from the 1980s when MacGyver was top of the charts. The other push, of course, was Trump saying America's done with the war in Ukraine, telling them make peace or we are out. Since Zelensky's Oval Office wipeout, American public opinion has turned solidly against that war, with Ukraine support dropping 20 to 30 points. Trump's now ramping it up. The past few days, Trump publicly mulled moving 35,000 U.S. troops out of Germany and ending joint NATO exercises, which cost us $1.5 billion to train Germans how to hold guns. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. $840 billion is just the start for Europe. Bloomberg estimates that a 4% GDP target on defense would require nearly $3 trillion in extra European spending in the next decade just for the 5 biggest European NATO members. The Financial Times of London summed it up. Europe will have to, quote, trade its welfare state for a warfare state. The Europeans, amazingly, are dumb enough to actually want the world policeman job that's been bankrupting our country and crippling our young men since 1945. Possibly because this is the fate of all socialist regimes, crush the economy, then distract with war, or possibly because Europeans are clinically narcissist and need to matter. Either way, the sooner the U.S. is out of Europe and out of NATO, the better. Let Europeans and everybody else clean up their own mess. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.